Welcome to the Northwest Women's Fast Pitch. Today is an exciting day. We have wonderful founders that are lined up to do amazing pitches today with amazing judges. Hi, I'm Dr. Sylvia Ma, and I'm the founder of Stella Labs, who is the leader of the Women's Fast Pitch, along with Stella Angels. So welcome today. And before we start, we have amazing sponsors that have come alongside us, sat down beside us, and been so amazing in supporting the Women's Fast Pitch. And the sponsor for the Women's Fast Pitch, the title sponsor is Cooley. So I would love to introduce Phoebe Huang, associate at Cooley. She represents Cooley from the Seattle, Washington area, from the Northwest. So she practices corporate and securities laws and represents companies across a broad spectrum of industries. Phoebe has experience with corporate formation, venture capital financing, and general counsel. Welcome, Phoebe, today.
Thank you so much, Sylvia. We are really excited to support the Women's Venture Summit and Fast Pitch competition today. And we just want to extend our congratulations first and foremost to all of the presenters. We at Cooley love being a part of the entrepreneurial community, and it's just incredible to be with so many rising leaders today. For those of you who are not familiar with Cooley, we are a global law firm comprised of 1,300 lawyers across the United States, Europe, and Asia. We are best known for representing leading innovators across various industries and markets, and we pride ourselves in the technology, tools, and systems that we're able to provide to our clients so that they are empowered to succeed in their ventures. We represent more than 40% of the Wall Street Journal's billion-dollar company list, as well as more than half of the companies listed on the NASDAQ Biotech Index. We are also the leading firm for venture capital financings, and actually later today, we will be sharing a presentation about our key resources and some helpful data and financing trends so that you can start building the proper foundation to grow your business. At Cooley, we are extremely committed to diversity and inclusion, and this is evidenced by our internal teams as well as the clients that we support. We recently ranked in Fortune's Best Workplace for Women, and for the 10th year in a row, we were named as a Best Law Firm for Women by Working Mother magazine's parent company. We are also involved with several platforms with the goal of placing women on boards of directors and also support many local and national initiatives that are committed to advancing female founders and women representation in the workplace. It's our honor to support the female founders participating today. Thank you so much for having us here, and we look forward to partnering with you on your next venture.
Oh, Phoebe, so exciting to learn all about that, as Cooley is one of the best for female founders. So welcome. Again, you're here at the Women's Fast Pitch Northwest Regional, and we're in our 6th year of doing the Women's Fast Pitch. Last year, we were able to go nationwide because of COVID. There are some good things about this pandemic that we're in. We have this year virtual competitions in 6 regions over 6 weeks. Now, what's interesting about this region is our first region that we said, you know what, in this region, we wanted to reach a little bit further. So we reached out to a couple of Alaska Angels. I know you're on the chat right now, so chat it up that you're here. And we said, you know, Alaska, what do you have to give for us? We would love to have female founders from Alaska. So you will hear actually from 2 female founders from Alaska in the Northwest region tonight. So I just want to make sure that everybody is aware of that, because we meet entrepreneurs where they are. This one, first one is really exciting for us. The Northwest region is always exciting for us. And each regional competition, the winner advances to the Women's Venture Summit on September 17 and 18, not too far along away from us right now. And the winner there gets a $10,000 investment with about $30,000 in-kind services. So we're really excited about building this community always. Again, we are led, Women's Fast Pitch is led by Stella Labs. It is a not-for-profit business accelerator. We increase representation and funding opportunities for female founders, period. As I said, we meet you where you are. We allow you to have the opportunities like this access to capital event, and we're here for you as a business accelerator. But please stay tuned until the very end to hear about 3 special announcements about Stella Labs. Now on to the judges. These judges are one of my, all of my very dear colleagues. So first and foremost, thank you for being here. I want to thank first Catherine Gardeau. She is one of my colleagues at Next Wave Impact Fund. She's a limited partner in Next Wave Impact Fund, an angel investment group of 99 women from across the US and globally focused on social impact and financial returns. Catherine also provides consulting services through Gardeau Consulting, and I know she mentors university students and sustainable startups in product development, commercialization, and investor relations. Thank you for being here, Catherine. Next, we have Brianna McDonald, again, a wonderful colleague of mine. She's actually invited me many times up to the Northwest. Thank you for that. She currently leads as president of the Northwest region of the Keiretsu Forum Angel Investment Community, the largest and most active venture investor globally. Amazing organization. She has established a reputation for achievement in all phases of the Keiretsu process, from risk management, market anticipation and response, business development, angel investing, and overall enterprise management. She is the bomb. So thank you so much, Brianna, for being here. Next is another colleague of mine, Kristen Fox. She's actually one of the aspiring angel investors at the Women of San Diego Angel Conference. Kristen is an accredited business valuation specialist and director of business development for Vantage Point Advisors, Inc., and has spent over 20 years in the financial services industry. She has expertise in performing valuations of businesses and business interests for a variety of purposes, including financial reporting, transaction advisory, tax restructuring, corporate planning, matters of solvency and fairness, and gift and estate planning. Thank you, Kristen, for again being part of another regional pitch competition. And last but not least, we have my wonderful colleague and partner at Ad Astra Ventures, Vidya Dinamani, where she helps strengthen female founders, guiding them through a research-based curriculum designed for women leaders and supports them through direct investment. She has deep experience in product management and loves coaching on product market fit. And she has a book, actually I have it here. Boom, boom, boom. Wasn't ready right away, but she has a book about, it's called Groundwork, and it's about product market fit. Read it, you will be blown away. So thank you, Vidya, for being here. Now on to the pitch process. How will it go? The founders have a 90 seconds up to 3-minute pitch to pitch their startup. Then they will have Q&A with the judges. And the judges have actually said, I would love to ask questions of this one founder, because that is part of their investment thesis. That's what we're all about here. We really connect the right capital, the right investors with the right founders. And that Q&A period is about 5 minutes. The questions are always supportive, they're clarifying or promotion focused. The judges' rubric is the same from round one to pick the top 6 finalists today, and also for today, the judging rubric is the same. So I want to make sure that everybody knows that. And thank you to those judges that did that first round. And without further ado, here's the Meet the Founders video. So introducing the first pitch of the Northwest Regional is Tawny Fajardo of Syntek Medical. And I think she's on. I just want to make sure. Hi, Tawny. How you doing? Hi. You're all set and you can share your screen now.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for the introduction. Let me just share my screen real quick. I hope you all can see that.
We can, and you go ahead.
Wonderful. All right. So hello, everyone. My name is Tawny Fajardo. I'm co-founder of Syntek Medical with Tyler Underhill. Both of us are surgical nurses. We work in the operating room, and we developed a simple solution to an issue that we see at the hospital every day. So to give you a better idea of what this is like, I have to tell you about just a day I had in the hospital. So I had to get a patient from ICU to the OR for an emergent surgery that was just scheduled. We were short on time, and I knew there was going to be a lot of equipment to move. So my team and I hurried to the patient room, got the patient, and was moving the bed into the elevator. But what happened was one of the IV lines got caught, and ultimately lines stretched, and the IV lines administering life-saving medication became dislodged. Can you imagine? This did not have to happen to our patients. So just to give you an idea, these kinds of transfers happen on average 120 times per day at a hospital. So here's a problem. Transfers increase the risk of adverse events for patients, and after a lot of research, an easy and cost-effective solution doesn't even exist in this $53 billion market yet. So at Syntek Medical, we believe that there is an easier method for all of this. Transfer right now is just performed by dragging the bed with the IV pole while you're pushing. And if we don't do anything, we face incredible health and cost-related consequences. We want to show you the elegant solution to this issue. So introducing the Tech Clamp, it is a single unit multi-adaptable clamp that connects a patient's hospital bed to an IV pole, and it is currently patent pending. We currently have 2 competitors. As you can see, they are very costly, can cost up to $30,000 and requires all of this equipment to be replaced. So currently, research states that demand for easier transport is drastically growing, especially amidst the COVID-19 pandemic and rising investments on improving the workflow in the hospital. Syntek is offering business-to-business sales as a part of our manufacturing model, and currently is $1,000 per unit. And as you can see, 88% gross margin with 20% net profit. To give you an idea of our financial projection, we do expect about $500,000 per hospital acquired, and our COGS is $300. Our management team is growing right now. So we have me and Tyler here, and we also have Douglas Moore, Mackenzie Andrews, who's also an expert in the medical devices industry, and we do have our lead engineer. That was for 20% equity in our company to cover our costs. So we are very excited to meet investors who are ready to be part of the solution to this safe patient transport.
Great job, Tawny. You did fantastic. Now, going on to Q&A, you have about 5 minutes, and the Q&A will be led by Brianna and Kristen. So Brianna, do you want to go first?
Sure can. Great job. And I had the opportunity to see you at the Seattle University Business Plan competition as well. I'd love to dig into a little bit on your B2B model that you have and your projections to sell 500 units essentially into the hospitals. Who is that person you're selling to, and how many units do you actually think they're going to start with, knowing that the end goal would be for a hospital to purchase 500 units?
Yes, that's a really great question. We actually have an entire marketing. Let me see if I can get this here for you. I don't know if you still see my slides here, but we do have a marketing and sales strategy to understand how sales work in medicine. There is a procurement officer, directors, and people who are under the education system to better understand what the needs are for the hospital. I also currently am a director of nursing, so I personally do have a very close understanding of what this is like for bigger hospital facilities. I'm a director for a smaller facility, but ultimately I'd be talking to people like myself to better understand what the sales are and what there's a budget typically for those things. So our marketing and sales strategy does include a program called Transfer Solutions, where we will work with smaller sized facilities, and we're ultimately going to figure out what their needs are and adjust to their, I would say, their needs, and then ultimately acquire more research so we can sell to bigger hospitals. So first year is going to be a little slower before we start moving on to larger facilities like CHI Franciscan or Virginia Mason and those leads. I hope that answers the question. I don't know if I 100% got there or if the slide showed.
Are you, that sounded great to me. Brianna, am I okay to go? Okay. Great presentation. Thank you so much. So in terms of penetrating those smaller sized facilities, there's going to be an obvious cost savings. You're saying that the competition's product costs anywhere from 10 to 30,000, whereas yours is only 1,000. So how are you getting these purchasers in these smaller facilities? How are you getting them comfortable with the cost savings and like the safety of your product versus theirs?
Sure. So for those who have the larger, if they do have those very bulky, I would say multi-component products, a lot of those come with backdraws. A lot of them require the replacement of existing equipment. So if someone were to look at, for instance, Skytron or Nextpan, they're looking at replacing all of their hospital beds. They're looking at replacing their IV poles. In the look and cost of what safety will look like there, that's why it's costly, and that doesn't even include the system itself. We are giving hospitals an option to keep their existing equipment and just use the clamp. Because of its technology, we use hydraulics in the clamp, and the clamp size is multi-adjustable. It can attach to any size bed and any size IV pole. Most of them have a very similar circumference, so that will always be the same. And that is how we'll be presenting the tech clamp to hospital procurement officers and directors in leadership and management.
All right, awesome. Can we dig in a little bit on manufacturing and where you'd actually be manufacturing this product and the COGS that go into the manufacturing of the product? You're going to sell it for 1,000, but how much does it cost to produce, and who on your team has experience in working in manufacturing?
Sure. So currently we are working with Kicker Design. They're originating in Georgia currently. We have a prototype right now being developed. So a lot of these are primarily projections, and we are estimating about $100 or a couple hundred for the production of the device. And we're actually hoping to have it cost a little less than 1,000. We hope it doesn't have to be, a couple $1,000s. We don't want to present a facility and say, here's this little clamp and it's going to cost a fortune. That's not what we want to do. Hopefully we're thinking it's going to cost a lot less than a couple hundred, and it'll ultimately cost less than 1,000. These are estimates. And this company, Kicker Design, is very experienced in medical devices. They've made things for defibrillators and a lot more advanced technology. So what we like about the tech lab is that it's very simple, very elegant. We've done a lot of formal interviews with people who have experience with the ICU management and leadership, and we've gotten a lot of positive feedback there.
Okay.
We have time for one more question, Kristen, if you want to, or Brianna.
Yeah, just again, along the lines of the technology, it's patent pending. So what kind of work have you done around protecting the technology, and what stage is it in currently?
We are in very beginning stages. We have the basic design protected and patented. We hope to do a design patent as well in the near future as it is currently being developed. And we're just very excited about that. We're protecting along the way, and the utility patent will be coming very soon.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Tawny. You did such a great job. Thank you for all the questions, Brianna and Kristen. We're off to the next pitching founder, and wanted to remind the audience that like and subscribe to YouTube. You're on YouTube right now. It's right below. There's lots letting people know that we are coming in from, I love this, from Portland, from Alaska, from Valdez, Alaska, from San Diego, from Cooper Landing, Alaska. Love all the support of everybody who is on the chat. So chat it up a little bit more, give those founders a wonderful thumbs up, and also subscribe while you're there to our YouTube channel. So on to pitch number 2. Just want to make sure that we have, oh yes, I'm glad that I already said that there's a lot of Alaska people out there. So pitch number 2 is Laura Oden of Pandere Shoes. You have the floor.
All right. Just get this on here.
Yep, it's being shared, so that's good.
Okay, great. Well, hello, my name is Laura Oden, and I'm the CEO of Pandere Shoes, and we make expandable footwear. So these are my feet. I've had a condition since I was a teenager called lymphedema that causes one of my feet to be swollen all of the time. There are millions of people all over the world with very similar problems, and 43 million of them are right here in the United States. So the problem is that shoes just don't accommodate individual needs very well, like swelling and braces and wraps and bunions, and feet come in many different shapes, and they change shape throughout the day as well as throughout our whole lifetimes. So our big idea was to make shoes expandable so that they would fit any shape. Other companies have tried to solve this problem by making many shoe widths and inserts that fit inside to fill up space, but they just don't solve the problem very well, and they sure don't look good. So our solution was to make shoes that fit many shapes, including normal feet. We wanted a medical quality without a medical look, and we have a utility patent pending, and we are the inventors. So this is a $6 billion market. We're focusing on the 9 million Americans with the chronic condition that causes a regular need for our shoes. And since we've launched, we've grossed almost $1 million in sales. We've sold over 7,200 pairs of shoes. And this year, 45% of our sales is coming from repeat customers. So we have some very exciting plans for growth. We've just signed a licensing agreement with the North American Shoe Company. This is a distributor with more than 900 retailers. They're going to be putting out a new line called Pandere Sport. We get an 8% royalty on the first cost of every shoe that's made. They're going to be in retail stores, and they'll be focusing on a more non-medical market, while we will continue online to focus on a more medical side. So it's a very compatible partnership. So we're a proven founding team. I have 25 years of leadership and business ownership experience. I have 40 years of customer experience because I have the same problem. And my co-founder, Ayla Rogers, has 8 years of small business ownership prior to Pandere, and she's also a serial entrepreneur. So thankful for these shoes. They have given me back a much needed sense of normalcy. I'm telling you, we hear this every single day, either by email or by chat or through a review. So our ask today is for advisors. We are looking for expertise in a couple of key areas, mainly finance and marketing, to help us get to the next level. And we think the opportunity is huge. We have huge growth potential. We have a winning story, and we're a social impact business. And I thank you for listening, and I'm looking forward to your questions.
Wonderful job, Laura. Well done. And your question and answer will be led by Vidya and Catherine. Vidya, do you want to start?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Sylvia. Laura, that was an excellent presentation, and who knew that this was such a huge market? So congratulations on all the traction so far, and especially that partnership. I think that really speaks to an unmet need, and from a product market fit perspective, you know, you've nailed it when you're like, I found the customer. So I want to go down that path a little bit more and ask you, like, where do you find these folks that have these needs? How do they find your shoe? How do you find them?
So at the beginning, we went for the low hanging fruit. We advertised just mainly around swelling, and we spent a lot of our efforts on digital advertising. For the first couple of years, we spent most of our efforts on Facebook, and that worked really well. The pandemic kind of changed some of the Facebook algorithms, and so that's part of what we're trying to focus on now. But one of the cool things that came out of the pandemic is our Google ads, which hadn't ever really performed well, started performing really well by the end of 2020. And in 2021, the Google advertising has been a really solid, reliable place for customers to find us. So they're finding us with Google searches. And that's really exciting because that means we broke through a bunch of noise in the first couple of years.
Absolutely.
We also have other places like clinicians. We have the lymphedema clinicians that are really responding to us, and they're sending a lot of customers our way. And lymphedema is really just one of the disciplines that we can reach out to. We've got so many medical disciplines. We've got diabetes, we've got people in wheelchairs, we've got people with braces. I mean, the list kind of goes on and on. Everybody who's in dialysis, it's a long list.
And as well as everyone who wants a comfortable shoe, which you can serve after your medical needs.
I think that's the other thing. That's the other reason why we're excited about this other partnership, is because we know that, if you just get on a plane, you're going to have some foot swelling, and you're probably going to be really happy you have our shoes by the end of it. So travelers, people who are teachers, nurses, people who are on their feet all day, this is why we're excited to be in the retail stores.
Very cool. Catherine, I don't want to monopolize the questions. Over to you.
Thank you. I have to say that this is a really exciting product. I have many friends who had perfect feet when they were young, and then they grow bunions and they don't have options. So this is a great option. So my question to you is, what are the materials that your shoes are made from, and where do you make them?
Our shoes are made in Portugal. The new line that I was talking about, that partnership, that's going to be made in China. So we'll be branching out into a second factory, which is great. But our shoes are made, they're very European crafted, very high quality materials. It's all leather and Lycra, and the supply chain for shoes is really extensive. So there's many, many, many supplies that go into shoes, but largely it's leather and Lycra, and then rubber for the bottoms, or whatever kind of PU.
And then a follow-on to that is, what is the price point for the shoes? And then what are you anticipating for growth?
So the price point of our shoes right now ranges between $100 and $160. The price point for the new line, that Pandere Sport, is going to be a lower price point. I don't know exactly what the price point is. It should be in the $90 to $100 range, maybe $80 to $100 range. We know where the sweet spot is in terms of shoe sales. It's right around $120. People love to buy a pair of shoes for $120. And, most of our customers are kind of accustomed to having a lot of shoe challenges. So they don't mind paying more, but many of our customers are also on a fixed income. So it'll be nice to have multiple price points.
I'll jump back in again, because I think I wanted to continue on that path of repeat customers, because that's fantastic, like 45% coming back. What do they buy? Are they buying a similar shoe? Are they asking you for different types? What's the repeat customer experience?
Yeah, so they want different types of shoes, and we're trying to get them to them, one season at a time. We don't have a lot of cash flow to buy a bunch of shoes in development, so we're on a super tight cash flow. We've largely got, at this point, closed-toed shoes, and then we've got sandals, both in wide and extra wide. And then we have a clog, or we have slides that don't have a back, because a lot of people who have swelling, they have something called an overhang, and it prevents them really from getting their heel into a shoe. And also people with braces, they have a problem sometimes with heels. So we also have a boot. You saw that at the beginning. So there's many shoes that we could develop. They want them all. They want them all, and they want them in color because, these people, they've been stuck with black shoes since the beginning. They don't like it. They want a red shoe.
I know. Yeah, suddenly you've got choice. So who designs your shoes? I mean, it looks like you've got a lot of experience with you and your co-founder in terms of the customer experience, but who's designing them?
Well, we've gone through several designers. I mean, at the end of the day, we are not designers. We have final product control. So I play a big role in determining what is the final fit and what is the function that we need. And that's the main thing that I bring to the table, except for the fact that, Ayla and I like shoes, so we make sure it looks good. But our primary partner oversees the coordination with the factory, and he also oversees the design. So he has a team of designers. He'll reach out to us with designs. We'll work through the designs together, and that's basically how it works.
Okay, cool.
What is your target? Oh, I was just asked one other quick question. What's your target for sales this year and next year?
Well, I think this really gets to the main question of what we're actually looking for. I think, we would really like to have some expertise to come in and look at our projections and help us hone them in. I mean, I think we view this as a very scalable company. We've done $1 million in sales. We should be able to get to the next level if we have some help, which I think would put us around, a couple million, getting to 3 and 5 and 10 and 15, 20, 50. We should be able to get there. This is within reason, but we do need some help to get there.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Laura, for your pitch, and your question answer was great. You had 2 wonderful judges asking you wonderful questions. So thank you so much. And another reminder for the audience as we get the next pitch going is wanted to shout out to our Women's Venture Summit sponsors and our Women's Fast Pitch. Today, you've heard from Cooley. You're going to hear from them during the judges' deliberation, but we have Next Wave Impact Foundation and the Impact Seat, who were both also wonderful sponsors of this wonderful event. And we could not have done it without them. They did pitch prep for us with our founders, with some of our founders, and just have been supporters from this time that we're having all of these regional competitions in this virtual environment. So without further ado, I know that we have the next one up and ready to go. This is Amina Moreau of Radious.
I just wanted to say what an inspiring group of women. Such great pitches so far. I'm excited to hear the other 2. Hi, everyone. I'm Amina Moreau, CEO and co-founder of Radious, which is a B2B marketplace for rentable home office and meeting space. So here's the thing. Working professionals have spoken. Remote work is here to stay. The problem is that working from home isn't great for everyone. Some people have a lot of distractions at home. Others might not be able to afford a great work from home setup. Now, I know that I personally find it really hard to turn my work brain off at the end of the day because working from home, I'm kind of living at the office. It's hard not to feel burnout. At the same time, though, if you ask people if they want to continue to work remotely, at least some of the time, nearly 98% of them say yes. So employers are starting to make big moves. Some are canceling leases, others are announcing permanent remote policies, but they still have all those downsides of work from home to contend with. And not to mention, are we never going to work together in person again? Some companies are trying to force a return to the traditional office for just that reason, and they're hemorrhaging talent because of it. Thankfully, we've got a solution for them. Collaborative spaces right in people's neighborhoods. We provide on-demand meeting spaces in private offices down the street from your house. Think of it much like Airbnb, but instead of overnight accommodations, Radious offers great workspaces in residential areas by the day. Employees get to keep the convenience and flexibility that they want while also getting some work-life separation, and employers get to have their teams get together in person again without forcing them to commute back to the traditional office. Everybody wins. Here's how it works. Companies subscribe to Radious on a monthly basis. This gives their teams access to book great workspaces for free. And homeowners earn revenue through renting out great environments. And then Radious takes a 20% commission on each booking. We've been piloting in Portland, Oregon for the last few weeks, and we're gearing up for a rush in the fall as summer vacation ends and workers get back to business. We already have paying users, but in addition to them, we're also approaching $1 million in signed LOIs from employers that are ready to put their teams in our spaces. So now we're focusing all of our efforts on ramping up our inventory to meet the huge demand that we're seeing. Our platform is beautiful, and I have my two co-founders to thank for that. Brian, a back-end developer, and Alon, who's focusing on the front end. Myself, because I've built 4 other companies before this one, 2 of them marketplaces, which have sold off since, I bring team leadership and the business expertise to scale this. My background in storytelling psychology has won one of my previous companies 5 Emmy Awards. And as an open level tennis player, I've basically had grit built into my DNA since I started competing when I was 7. I love this. I love that this is a big idea with the potential to help a lot of people feel more fulfilled at work. And I'm thrilled to explore partnerships with investors who find this exciting too. I welcome any questions.
Amina, wonderful job. You did fantastic. And your Q&A will be led by Vidya and Catherine.
Wonderful.
Vidya? Coming on, so I'm going to get started straight away. So Amina, fantastic. It's definitely a really big idea, and I'm excited for the letter of intent that you already received, and you're on your way. So fantastic.
Thank you.
So I want to talk to me a little bit more about the business model. So we're very familiar with Airbnb. People put up their spaces. There's times, but this sounds like it's more like fractional, that people's homes are being rented for a certain amount of time, versus it's an overnight stay like a hotel. So talk me through what that looks like and the user experience of someone who's renting their home.
Sure. So right now, the smallest increment of time that you can rent a space for is a day. And that's not to say that we might not have smaller increments down the road, but during a pandemic, the more space turnover you have, the more dangerous it is, and the more work it is for the host. So right now, hosts have the ability to choose their time frame. So check-in times, check-out times. Most of our hosts have a check-in time roughly around 6 or 7 a.m., and then stretching some of them all the way to 8 p.m. And then workers book for the day, and they can be free to go in and out as they'd like. And it's especially effective when somebody has an ADU in their backyard or a mother-in-law suite that has a separate entrance, because it's completely private and COVID safe. And a lot of our hosts also have backyard areas where you can do a great meeting if the weather is nice and feel safer there, while, in the short term, while we're in a pandemic. And then in the long term, because we're in the suburbs, we're where employees live, it's tremendously convenient.
Very cool.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it totally does. Just a quick follow-up before I turn it to Catherine, sorry. As you think about, are you guiding because it looks like the interface is beautiful. Are you guiding in terms of price? How are you pricing in terms of the companies that sign up? Are they just buying a block and employees can use it? Tell me a little bit about the guidelines and the pricing.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I'm not sure if you can see my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
You can. All right. So when it comes to pricing, we've recently found a very interesting sweet spot. We can tell our hosts, a lot of our hosts are used to renting on Airbnb already per night. We can tell them, you can make more money with us per day than you're used to on Airbnb, with less risk, because these are working professionals in your home, and with less wear and tear, and with less work, because you're not doing any laundry. But our solution is cheaper for employers than what they're used to paying for corporate meeting space at hotels and at co-working spaces. And so through our testing, we have discovered that we can satisfy both sides of the market in ways that we had not initially expected, which is very, very exciting. Forgive me, though, I think there was a second part to your question and it's escaping me now.
No, this is great. I want to give Catherine some time. So this is great for now. Thank you.
So I know how Airbnb works, and that that way people get to judge, a space. How do people know that your space is a place they want to go? Besides just seeing, a picture and knowing the costs, but how would they get the confidence that that's where they want to be?
Right. It's a very good question. So there are a few answers to that question. Much like with an Airbnb listing, it's more robust than just one photo. Most of our galleries have 15 plus photos that feature all of the amenities, whether there's a printer, whether there's a whiteboard, whether there are multiple meeting spaces, indoors, outdoors, how fast is the internet? We actually have a speed test built right into our listing creation wizard so that people can be confident and can filter their search results by upload speed, by download speed, by whether there's Wi-Fi, Ethernet, or both, whether there's a stand desk or just a seated one. And so that, and also our review system, which we have yet to build, but have great plans for how to make our review system better than what other platforms currently have and more trustworthy. We're pretty confident that, we already have really great reviews from our users, that what they are getting exceeds their expectations. And I think that it's only going to get better with time.
And then I have a follow-on question. So I know that right now you're in Portland, Oregon. What is your plan on where would you go next? Or are you going to expand further in Oregon, or what are you thinking?
Well, we have those LOIs that I mentioned, and we have a growing waiting list that has demand being shown across the country and also across the world. Of course, we've got to take this step by step, and largely it'll be contingent on our ability to fundraise. But we're starting with the Pacific Northwest, and in cities where the regulations are favorable for us to really prove the concept and prove to these local economies that we are helping families and helping local employers. That's going to help us with those arguments and also expand into other geographies. One of our biggest LOIs, which is almost $500,000, is in the Midwest, and we have a lot of contacts there too. So without going into too much detail, that's our general track, but we're also keeping tabs on where our competition is and isn't, and we have intentions to follow that closely.
Well, I want to say, because I'm a land use expert, I'm really glad you're thinking about land use regulations, because that is definitely an area where it's really good to be ahead of the curve on that and understand that. So perfect.
I'd love to keep in touch with you. Perhaps we can exchange contacts, because we have some plans, but could always use some advice.
Sounds good. I'm more than happy to do that.
Thank you.
One last quick follow-up question before Sylvia comes on. Tell us about your use of funds. What are you fundraising, and what would you use them for?
Well, we are in the middle of a family and friends round. We've raised $95,000 so far, but we are looking to expand that into a seed round of $1 million. And we really have the first big push is ramping up our inventory. And so we've already hired a small but very effective team of host success professionals that are responsible for recruitment, onboarding, and ongoing customer service, so that our hosts feel like they know, they feel supported and set up for success, because without them, we don't have a company. So that's number one. And then number two is bringing a little bit more awareness through paid advertising and marketing, because everything has been organic up until this point. Of course, we've got our MVP. We have so many more features that we want to build with feedback from our community. And so we would like to expand the size of our dev team, and then expanding to other geographies. That's the next push after that.
Great. And so can I finish, or are we done?
One small itty-bitty little question.
I don't think this is a small one. So we'll wrap.
She might be able to lobby it back in a very quick way, or do a passport. So
I'd love to try, maybe down the line for a winner.
Let's do it. Let's do it fast and see. So I wanted to know where your customer needs were primarily. Were they in the individuals, so like room, outside, a conference space, a meeting space? I'm just curious as to where you're seeing the biggest needs.
Yeah, it's evolved. When we first started the company just under a year ago, our theory was that people were going to need to escape terrible work from home situations and that employers were going to support that. That's not incorrect, but it's not the biggest need. It's a secondary need. In talking to employers, their biggest need is figuring out how to get people together in person. Zoom is great, clearly, but there's something to be said from occasional in-person interaction, and employers want it, even if they're letting go of their commercial real estate. And if they're not, they don't want to force people back, because the last thing employees want is to be forced into anything after a year and a half of flexibility. And so that's what we're really leaning to, is collaborative spaces that are safe because they're private for trusted pods of colleagues.
Very cool. Thank you.
Wonderful job. Thank you for the question answer. Well done, Amina. Wonderful job. And so while we get the next pitch ready to go, I just wanted to thank another sponsor of ours, Rocket Judge. Our judges are using a judging technology called Rocket Judge. Last year we used it. We loved it so much. We brought it back this year. It is a flexible judging platform that lets you make your competitions more exciting, dynamic, and stress-free. Simply add judges, competitors, and rubric and watch the scores roll in. You can try a free demo at rocketjudge.com. Thank you so much, Rocket Judge, for being a wonderful sponsor this year. And without further ado, we have pitch number 4. Oh, there you are. Amber McDonald of Indemnis, another Alaska founder. So thank you so much for being here, and we're ready to hear you. Let's see if we have everything. Okay, your screen is sharing. You're ready to go. This floor is yours.
Awesome. Thank you. Amber McDonald, CEO of Indemnis. The word Indemnis means without harm, without fail. And here at Indemnis, we are doing exactly that. We are accelerating drone delivery through safety. We've generated over $500,000 in revenue in the last 18 months, and we've raised over $6 million in the last 5 years. At Indemnis, we started as drone operators. We were flying drones and video production, and we quickly found that they were unreliable. We realized that a safety solution would be needed in order to expand the industry. The reality is that if a 15-pound mass falls out of the sky, that's not just hurting someone, that's killing someone, and that's not a risk that the public should have to accept. So at that time, we tried every safety solution that existed on the market and found that none of them worked. So we created the Nexus. The Nexus is the seatbelt for the sky. It's a tested and certified system that's accepted by civil aviation authorities around the globe. And I have a quick little video to show you how it works. So rather than using a traditional spring or combustible deployment mechanism, we use this inflatable tube. We invert it like a sock and we launch it with our inflatable tube. It flies at 140 miles an hour, and that tube will then remain rigid, which prevents the parachute lines from entangling with the propellers or other control surfaces on the drone as it's rolling and tumbling to the ground in the event of a failure. So why is this important? It is, let me go back to my pitch deck. It is a patented technology, and we developed the IP to actually create the inflatable tube with a material called Dyneema, but we can go into that later if there's questions. Market size is huge. Drone delivery is a $40 billion market over the next 5 years. And the share of that market that needs safety solutions to fly over populated areas is just over $3 billion. Anywhere that you want to fly or deliver over people will be needed a safety solution. Revenue model is product sales, customer integration for customers like Uber, reoccurring revenue, Indemnis Care. We also have research and development grants that we're working on. We're expanding our product portfolio, leveraging our same IP and actually creating an inflatable wing drone for the DoD sector. We have a little image down here, and this wing collapses up and fits into a soldier's backpack. We have an experienced team that's brought products to market, approved IP, like I was mentioning earlier, and We have blue chip customers, Uber. We have a partnership with DJI, which is the largest drone manufacturer in the world. We have worked with the FAA and industry partners to author the rules to enable our industry. We have been named Future Unicorn by Forbes and other earned media. And we're in the process of raising around. We're raising $1.6 million. So for the next 12 months, we have actually to date about 580,000 committed, and we're looking for individuals to join us on that journey. So questions?
Wonderful job. Thank you so much. I love IP and I love hard tech. So well done. Your question and answer is being led by Catherine and Brianna. Brianna, do you want to go first?
Sure. I also love hardware and love these types of companies. I have one in my portfolio that I think could be a very interesting partnership with you. So we should chat about that. So talk to me about your go-to-market strategy. You mentioned the DoD. Who on your team has that experience in navigating the DoD? And is there other low-hanging fruit in terms of the target market that you're looking to as well?
Absolutely. So as far as the DoD sector, we are in the process of working with a company that specializes in the SBIR grants and applying for those with our current model. And then as a part of this raise, actually, it just came up at our board meeting, we are bringing on advisors with that DoD experience and getting ready to hire a COO that has that background to take us for that project management sector. Because to be honest with you, I don't have explicit DoD experience, and neither are any of our founders. So we know that that is a gap, but we have already begun addressing it.
That's great. Yeah, the low-hanging fruit in the meantime.
For the low-hanging fruit, we do sell units. The sales that we have currently have come from distributors that we've partnered with and online sales. We also do custom integration, which we've done for multiple clients that will be our long-term sales as far as integration into drone delivery. But I think the biggest low-hanging fruit is Canada. Honestly, a majority of our sales Canada has a really great regulatory market that we've been able to navigate, where you can go buy our unit and go fly it at any time with like a 2-minute questionnaire on the Transport Canada website. So launching into public safety is a part of our next 6 months and 2022 as well. That's our target, I guess, for our sales.
It's wonderful to meet you and really great presentation. What I'm curious about is, do you sell or make and sell the drone or the attachment for making sure it comes to the ground safely if there's a failure? And I wasn't quite clear on that.
Yeah, it is a aftermarket attachment. Sorry for that. We do not sell the drone, so just the parachute recovery system.
And so who would be the market for that? It sounds like Canada is, but why would Canada be? Because I would think it would be in part because people, regulation would require there to be a safety mechanism. And is that a common thing now, or is it not?
Absolutely. So it's becoming more and more common. The rules were just released a couple months ago. We've been working on them for the last 3 years. And your customers are going to be construction companies, infrastructure inspection, public safety, any drone delivery, the Amazons, Ubers, Walmarts of the world that want to fly. Anybody who wants to fly over populated areas is going to be your direct customer. So, yeah.
And where will your product be made?
It's made in the US, actually here in Alaska.
Oh.
So I want to dive into the market question a little bit more, and I'm sorry that I keep.
Yeah, no.
So you named a whole bunch of really amazing potential customers there, but what are you targeting? What is that first spot that's going to be the best to go to of those types of customers and to bring them on?
So those are our actual customers. We've actually produced for Uber from ground zero. We are integrated into the Walmart deliveries that are happening in the United States with Drone Up. You have everyone from Yale with they're trying to deliver packages for their students. So those are our long-term goals. The big fleets, we want to integrate now and work with them on their regulatory services so that 5 years from now, we are so infiltrated into their fleets that we are their service provider. The low-hanging fruit is the construction companies, the video production companies that are doing, the Audi commercials or filming over Top Gun for Tom Cruise's head, where they need those permissions and those extra securities. Those are all the people that we're reaching out to now for the individual sales, the police departments. We work a lot with public safety, the smaller 5 to 10 unit orders are the ones that we're delivering to today so that we can maintain our presence in the drone market while we work on the integration for the large business fleets. That's our big exit in the end, where we're eventually going to make our money, but we have to continue to help develop the industry over the next couple of years. Is that better answer it?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Amber?
What is your, thank you, Brianna. What is your anticipated sales pipeline?
Right
how
now,
many units will you sell this year or next year or whenever your fiscal year starts?
Absolutely. So we'll sell about 50 units this year, and we're projecting to sort of maintain with everything with COVID. We had sort of a turbulent year, not going to lie, but we did maintain our sales. So we're just trying to maintain this year. And over, that's where we're branching out to stabilize some of our revenue and incorporating in the research and development grants and the DoD side of things so that we can maintain our sales, but yet still grow and move the business forward and utilize our expertise, because our IP can be utilized outside of just parachute recovery systems, that inflatable tube technology. So we're going to sell about 50 units this year.
It sounds very intriguing now that you said more, but I see Sylvia on the screen, so I can't ask more, but that sounds
Maybe
very
one
interesting.
I got one short one.
One short one, Brianna, go ahead.
Your patents are issued, and how many do you have issued and how many have you filed for additionally?
So our main 2 patents, yes, are issued, granted, and we have a patent on launching an aerodynamic decelerator with an inflatable tube from a drone. And then we also have a patent on the technology, the IP, to weld the inflatable tube. And we have another 2 in the hopper. And then we also have those patents globally. So we've applied for them in different countries.
It's like the best answer for somebody who loves hardware. So just putting it out there and products. So great job, Amber. Thank you so much. So as we get the last pitch getting ready to go, wanted to just remind the audience, we as Stella Labs and Stella Angels, we have a partner, sister partner with Ad Astra Ventures, who does boot camps, founder boot camps and investor boot camps. And we have one coming up at the end of September. So please join us. If you haven't applied, please apply for those boot camps. We're here to support you. And last but not least, we have pitch number 5. I think we have Wendy. Yes, we do. Wendy Morgan of Shift. The floor is yours.
Good afternoon. Thank you guys so much for having me. Hospitals are buckling under the pressure to onboard and maintain a well-trained workforce, resulting in critical shortages, undertrained nurses, and avoidable adverse events, including patient death. Why? Onboarding a single nurse can cost upwards of $75,000. The current training model is both laborious and expensive, resulting in critical training being skipped due to lack of time and staff. With approximately 180,000 nurse positions to fill this year alone, nursing departments need to train quickly, efficiently, and effectively. We are at a point in time when change is upon us, and Shift is defining the future of nurse education. Our proprietary methodology utilizes real-world mechanisms for how every adult actually learns. We use virtual reality as a tool to achieve the ability to create super nurses at scale. Imagine a world where instead of long, boring training sessions that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, a nurse can simply slip on a headset and be transported to a real-world scenario anytime, anywhere. We are on a trajectory to corner this market. Not only are we a first mover, we're the only company today who is delivering a library of training that includes virtual reality, data analytics, psychology and behavior change, and a focus on health equity as part of our proprietary methodology. We are a game changer, setting the gold standard and driving better outcomes by delivering training to our customers that is of the highest quality for every single learner. We're a B2B subscription-based company serving the healthcare training market, which is forecast to reach $125 billion by 2025. Our first year, we developed 7 products and secured $400,000 in revenue from customers like these. How do we reach 12 million ARR? Consider a small to medium-sized hospital, representative of our current and target customers. They continually need to onboard about 150 nurses per month. When they buy just one of our 7 trainings, that equates to $180,000 of annual recurring revenue. As we license additional training, the deal size will bump up to an average of $500,000 in ARR. And why will they buy this? We put 5 times the training dollars back into our customers' pockets every single year. The founding team has already proven that we're up to the challenge of cornering this market. Maggie and I are a knockout duo with relevant experience and expertise. We're both scrappy and seasoned. We operate lean and move fast. We're supported by our strong team of advisors who open doors to customers and investors. They challenge our assumptions and guide our decisions. And they also support us as we expand our library and our customer base. We only have about $280,000 left in our convertible note round, and we anticipate closing that rapidly as we secured our first $218,000 in about 18 hours. Thank you so much.
Wonderful job, Wendy. Love hearing about VR and the wonderful impact it can have on this world. So your question answer is being done by Brianna and Kristen.
Hello.
Go first this time, Kristen.
Okay.
Great presentation, Wendy. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
So can you tell me about any competitor in the space and where you're positioned in relation to their technology?
Absolutely. We do have competition in this space. Actually, it's a great thing for us because they're helping to prove the market that there is a hunger and a drive for purchasing this technology. And so it actually takes down some barriers. Our differentiators are very clear and our proprietary methodology, our focus on health equity, and that piece around the behavior change that we incorporate into our training.
Can you delve in a little bit further into the proprietary methodology and how you're leveraging data analytics within it? And then any protection you have around that methodology?
So I'll go in reverse. We're working on getting IP protection for that methodology. The methodology is really the science of behavior and the psychology behind that. And the reason for that is because our customers really want that data showing that the trainings that they're delivering, because they're faster, they are truly more effective. Now, there is research and data out in the world now showing that VR does that, but the way that we deliver the VR, our learners are far more likely to be able to apply what they've learned every time consistently, and that enhances the continuity of care, which is a key component for hospitals.
All right, great job on your presentation and speaking to competition. And part of the reason why I really liked this pitch, because I wanted to see how you differentiated, because I've seen at least 6 different VR companies working on the medical field and training in the last 4 months.
Oh, wow.
So there is a lot of competition that I've seen out there working in that space. So really looking at this like a land grab opportunity and how you get to market first and build your brand. What are kind of the few key things that you need to do to start to really get that adoption and become that market leader out there?
That's an excellent question. And I figured the space would be getting rather full because, everyone wants to be there now in the healthcare. One thing is we're an early mover. So we were here before it became the hip thing to do. And we were here doing our research. So what we have built is built on 5 years of research. So someone can't come in and duplicate that. So if you think about Noom, for example, how many apps are out there for weight loss? And then Noom came along and suddenly it's very, very successful. And they're using that psychology and behavior change. Another key component for us is the customers and partners that we secured early on. All of those that you saw on the logo slide were secured through word of mouth. And then we know that in order to be the real dominant in this space, we have to have a very large library. So we've already begun conversations with strategic content partners who are looking to move into virtual reality, and they corner their market. For example, we've had conversations with Radious and HealthStream, who are some of the largest in nurse training, but they don't yet use VR and want to. And so that will be a key component for us to have a very large library.
Kristen, you want to go next?
Yeah. Could you provide a little bit of color on the stage of the technology and how much traction you've had with some of these hospitals and universities?
Yeah, so we have 7 products that are being used right now. They're fully developed and fully used. They're out of beta, alpha, and everything else. And we have actually a really incredible new development. We have a partnership, sort of a reseller agreement with Sigma Theta Tau. And if you're not familiar, that's the second largest nursing membership organization in the world. And they're using our course that is titled Advancing Health Equity as a mini leadership academy. And they're going to offer continuing credit units, and they're going to do all the marketing and roll it out worldwide. But we still take the lion's share of the revenue per user, and we keep the IP. So we have partnerships like that, additional ones in the works. Did that answer your question?
Yep.
Okay, good.
All right, so let's talk about this capital raise and how the key milestones and drivers that are really going to help you get to that next valuation inflection point that you're looking to achieve as you work to get to exit in 3 to 5 years.
Excellent. Yeah, so we just got accepted into a growth accelerator called Expert Dojo, and their whole work is around getting us to growth. So, we have the inbound sales. That's great. We need to ramp that. And so this raise will get us the team to sell our existing products. And then Maggie and I will then be freed up to pursue additional strategic partnerships, potential co-commercializations with the larger hospital systems. And so we hope to close this round, as I said, very, very quickly, and then set to do a valued round coming up here in the next probably 12 months. And that will be based on attaining MRR that will warrant a valuation good enough for a next round.
And you have a valuation expert here, Kristen. So do you have another question as we wrap this up, Kristen?
Let's see. I guess, why did you choose to start Shift, Wendy?
I actually started Shift when I was leaving the University of Oregon, and I wanted to use a technology to solve a very pressing social issue. So my driver and the bedrock of our company is really around addressing equity. And that immediately gained traction, including 3 grants and international press. And so I knew then I was on to a technology to address an issue. We pivoted into healthcare at the beginning of the pandemic. And I, really feel like that using this to address health equity as well as the continuity of care and save patient lives it's a passion. And it also happens to be something that is in a market that's growing very rapidly, and our customers are really eager to work with this new tool.
Great. Thank you, Wendy.
Thanks, Wendy, so much. You did so great in question answer. Thank you, Brianna and Kristen, for the wonderful question and answer time that we had together. So now we are done, yay, with all the pitches that everybody did so amazing. So now we're going to go on to the next kind of time that we have together. We have now it's time for you to vote for audience choice, and I'll make sure that you understand exactly what you need to do. So first and foremost, before we go into the vote for audience choice, judges, we need to deliberate with you. Thank you so much for your valuable time, your valuable questions. But before you go into that room, we just have to do a little bit of a technical aspect. You need to turn your screens back on and then go into the room, or else you won't be able to put on your screens when you go into the room. So you can do that as I'm speaking. Now it's time to vote for audience choice. We have a voting link in the chat down there, and you can either or visit slido.com, SLIDO.com, and enter code 54672. Again, you don't have to memorize that. It's down there at the chat. So go on over, vote for your audience choice. These founders deserve your vote because you love either, you know, a VR system, you love SaaS, you love products, or you love a drone, or you love shoes, or anything that's around there. Please, please, please vote for your favorite founder on the audience choice. And while I go into the judges to talk to them, we have a very, very special talk with Phoebe Huang of Cooley, and I'll leave you with her. She's going to do fantastic.
Thank you, Sylvia. So I'm going to invite my colleague, Betsy, who is also representing Team Cooley. We're going to be sharing a presentation today on a couple of trends. And so I will turn this over to Betsy.
Thanks, Phoebe. Hi, everyone. As she said, I'm Betsy, and I'm also one of the associates in Cooley's Seattle office. So we're going to walk you through, guys, some trends and concepts related to public company financing that we hope you will find helpful. So first, we want to introduce you to Cooley Go, which is our free client-facing website that has information and tools that can help you navigate corporate law generally and private company financing specifically. Cooley attorneys maintain the site, and it includes a glossary of terms, informative articles, and form documents that you can either reference or you can even use as a starting point to draft some early stage documents you might find useful, like incorporation documents, non-disclosure agreements, employment-related documents, etc. And one of the tools that we want to highlight is called, you'll find it on there, it's called the Trends page. And basically it's interactive graphs that show you up-to-date data on private financing. So one example that we want to show you is this chart on deal volume. So what you'll see here is a graph showing deal volume over the last 2 years. You can see it's been mostly steady with a couple of spikes. And this chart in particular is showing all series of financings. So seed rounds aggregated with A, B, C, D, et cetera. And also in all industries, including life sciences and tech. But what you can actually do when you go into Cooley Go is customize the chart to reflect exactly what you want to see. So you could look at just series, seed, tech deals, and get that information as well. Another chart we wanted to show you is this pre-money valuation chart. So as you can see, what this is showing is that pre-Series C, it's extremely consistent valuations over time. And it's not until you get into later financings that the valuations really start to fluctuate given the timing of the financing. This would be a great chart to benchmark against when you receive a term sheet, and you can see how your proposed valuation compares to other companies raising money in your industry at the same level. So on that note, I will turn over to Phoebe, and she's going to introduce you guys to some common terms you'll see in equity financing.
Thank you, Betsy. So a part of our presentation today, we're going to be sharing a couple of key issues and key matters that come up while you're discussing and negotiating your term sheet. We're going to go into each of these topics in a little bit further detail in the following slides, but at a high level summary, today we're going to be covering what exactly is a valuation of the company. And then we're going to be covering some key issues that often get negotiated related to economics and control of the company, which covers board of directors, and liquidation preferences, the size of your option pool, and how you're going to be looking at hiring employees in the upcoming months, as well as your founder vesting schedule, which may or may not get amended depending on your investors' preferences. But before we dive deeper into all of these topics, we want to know again that these agreements are actually all available on Cooley Go, and it can be a great resource for you if you just want to start getting a sense of what the documents actually look like and how they speak to each other in terms of economics and control on your company. And so Cooley Go, one of the great resources that we have there as well, is a very helpful glossary that covers terms. And so we encourage founders, as you're starting to talk to investors in the market, to go ahead and just check out that glossary and get familiar with what the terms mean so that you can be prepared for the negotiations that are expected to happen. And so diving a little bit deeper into our first big topic here today, you've probably heard the term valuation, and we wanted to break down a little bit further for you. Valuation falls into two buckets. It's either going to be called a pre-money valuation or it's going to be called a post-money valuation. And so the first one we're going to talk about briefly is the pre-money valuation. On this slide, you will see that we've broken this out into an actual formula. And so I will let you digest that formula on your own time. But at a high level, the pre-money valuation is going to be the valuation of the company immediately prior to the financing. So it's going to be the value of the company before you accept any new money from your investors. The pre-money valuation should be a good representation of the value of your company against the industry as of today. And investors often are going to be presenting you with a pre-money valuation, so you know heading into the financing what your company is valued at immediately prior to accepting the new money. And then let's talk about post-money valuation. As the name suggests, post-money valuation is going to be the value of the company after you accept your new money from your investors. And so here again on this slide, we've provided the formula for actually calculating your post-money valuation. But again, at a high level, the key differentiator here is this is the value of the company after you have accepted the new financing or the new money from your investors. And so this will reflect what your company is worth to the industry after you have started to accept venture financing or venture-backed investor money from your investors from venture capitalists. And so again, at a high level, pre-money valuation is going to be the value of the company immediately before the new money comes in. And the post-money valuation is going to be the value of the company immediately after the money comes in.
So I'll pick it up there to talk a little bit about the board of directors. So big picture is, as you raise money, investors are going to want to exert control over how the company is operating. And one big way that they do that is by having board seats. So a great rule of thumb is when you're thinking about board composition is that the board should roughly reflect the cap table. So if 20% of your cap table is preferred stock, directors chosen by preferred stockholders should probably make up about 20% of your board. The voting agreement is one of the suite of documents, again, that you can find on Cooley Go that will be drafted in conjunction with a preferred financing, and it will govern who sits on the board of directors. So it's an important one to keep an eye out for. One thing we wanted to highlight for you is that the difference between founder representation and CEO representation on the board. It's very common for seats to be reserved for the then serving CEO. When the voting agreement is initially drafted, the founder very likely is the CEO, so this will be one seat. But as time goes on, if as a founder, it's really important for you to maintain some control and be on the board, it's a good idea to sometimes consider breaking these up in case you're not always the CEO. It's also very common and can be a great idea to bring in an independent director. So that's a director who's not associated with the venture capital firm or the company, and they can really offer great industry insight and even help with networking. Another term that we wanted to highlight for you, which is an economic term as opposed to the board seat, which is a control term, is the liquidation preference. And liquidation preference governs how proceeds will be allocated in the event of a sale of the company. So basically, who gets paid, how much, and in what order. There's two components to liquidation preference. The first is the actual liquidation preference. So that refers to what multiple of the investment an investor will get. So think of it as before common stockholders get anything, seed stockholders will get 1x or 2x their investment. A investors will get 1x or 2x their investment. The second component is participation, and there's non-participating and participating. So in a non-participating scenario, the preferred holders have a choice, and they either get that preference we talked about, the 1x or 2x off the top, and then everything else is distributed to common holders, or they can choose to essentially convert to common and be the proceeds will be divided equally. In a participating scenario, on the other hand, you can think of it kind of like double dipping, where they're going to get their preference off the top, and then they're still going to be treated along with the common holders for the remaining distribution of the proceeds. This is a pretty complex topic, but it's just something to, again, keep an eye out for, don't glaze over. And if you remember one thing today from the presentation, we would say it's that 99% of deals we see are 1x non-participating. This is another cool to go graph that shows this. So that is what you should expect, and something to keep an eye out for.
Thank you, Betsy. Jumping along into a couple of other terms that we often see get negotiated at the term sheet stage. And again, I just want to highlight that these are just kind of a couple of terms that we commonly see in term sheet negotiations. There's obviously a lot of other terms that we're not touching upon today, but these are kind of the key control and economic terms that we see. One term that comes up a lot is going to be the size of the option pool as you're heading into the financing. And so before we dive deep into the option pool, at a high level, the option pool is going to be a reserve of common stock that you have put aside so that you can grant equity to your service providers. And so service providers include employees, advisors, consultants of the company, and maybe sometimes directors who are providing services. And so the reason for reserving shares in the option pool is because it has a dilutive impact to the stockholders. And so that's why investors are looking for a specific percentage of the fully diluted capitalization to be represented by the option pool. This typically gets negotiated, and it's the most key things to consider here are just to think about your hiring strategies in the next 12 to 18 months or before your next equity financing, and think about if there's going to be any times where you may need to grant significant amounts of equity to a key member of management, or if you need to bring on a co-founder. That will really drive how many shares you need to reserve in the option pool. And from our experience, typically investors are willing to negotiate and work with you on the size of the option pool, but you do need to present a fairly concise strategy and explanation for why you want the option pool to be a particular size. And again, the reason for that is because there is dilutive impact to your existing stockholders. And then just very briefly, we often do see as well founder vesting schedules getting amended in connection with a financing. If you're a founder in a company and you currently do not have a vesting schedule, it's highly likely that at the time of your equity financing, your investors will ask that they put a vesting schedule on your shares. And the reason for that is, mostly, I would say, business driven. They just want to make sure that the founders are going to stick around and be around to ensure the company's success. And you're not going to just walk away today with all of your founder shares. And typically, again, this is a term where we see investors are willing to work with founders on this. And so if you've already been providing services to the company for many years before your first equity financing, there's usually a little bit of room for negotiation. And so you might not be getting the whole 4-year typical vesting schedule imposed onto your shares. And it may be that you could negotiate a 2-year vesting schedule instead. And I see that we're running a little bit short on time here, so we'll just wrap this up really quickly. These are just a couple of investor rights that you will see in the documents and you will likely see get negotiated. These are captured in a document called the Investors' Rights Agreements. And again, these just speak to certain rights that investors want to so that they can ensure their investment in the company continues to work well for them. Oftentimes we'll see investors request information and inspection rights. And all this means is they just want to be able to see the financial statements of the company. Investors will often ask for preemptive rights, which are given to investors so that they can retain their percentage of the company. And you will also see protective provisions which appear in the company's certificate of incorporation. And these are just certain actions that provide the investors with a blocking right so that the company doesn't change into, the company doesn't go into a different direction without any stockholder insight. So we're really happy to be sharing this presentation with you today. We know we covered a lot of different terminology and different trends. Feel free to reach out to us. Our information is available on this slide, and you can also find us on Cooley. And again, we just wanted to emphasize that Cooley Go is a free resource that is available to everyone in the community. And we highly encourage you to check that out if you are starting to enter into that term sheet negotiation and you just want to get familiar with the terms as well as the trends that's out there in the industry. Thank you so much for being here and for listening to our presentation.
Hi, ladies. Thank you so much, Cooley. The judges are having a difficult time deciding today, so I thought I would pop on along with our Director of Investor Relations. Hi, everyone. My name is Raven O'Neill. I'm the Executive Director of Stella Labs, one of the companies that puts on this event. I thought I would invite Lauren on to do a quick introduction, and we can dive into SPVs.
Hi, Raven. Thank you so much for having me. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you great.
Oh, perfect. Well, as you mentioned, my name is Lauren Rowley. I'm the Director of Investor Relations for Stella Angels, and we are so delighted to be offering an investment opportunity in the companies featured today. So you want to have a little chat about it?
Yeah, please. Why don't we start by what, I don't know how many people in the audience are familiar with SPVs, so why don't we dive into what that is exactly?
Absolutely. So an SPV is a special purpose vehicle. And in business, they can be created for any special purpose, but for our purpose, it is really pooling together a group of investors who want to invest in a given early stage startup. So this is an amazing opportunity for our investors who maybe don't meet the founder's minimum, and we can bring everyone together. We form an LLC designed specifically for this investment. Each SPV is unique to the company that we're investing in as a group. So we can bring in any investors for any particular deal. And then it's just one line item on the founder's cap table. So it's super founder friendly because they just have one point of contact and we communicate out with the other investors. And it's also really easy for the investors because they just send in a little bit of information, wire the funds, and we take care of the rest.
Awesome. And what are the requirements for our founders to be included in an SPV opportunity?
So they just need to be actively raising a round. If any of the founders are actively raising, then they can send us a little bit of information. We put together a deal summary, and then we send it out to all of the investors. So it seems like there were a few more founders who are participating in raising a round than I have deal summaries for at the moment. But I currently have deal summaries for Radious and Shift.
And if an investor that is listening in is interested in learning more about our SPV opportunities, what should they do?
Oh, there's a great link in the chat. We would love for you to fill out this form. This just gives us all the basic information that we need to stay in touch with you. And then we can send you information about the investment opportunities available today. If there are investment opportunities that you're interested in from previous Women's Fast Pitch events, future Women's Fast Pitch events, we've got them all. So just fill out this form once and we will engage you in the process.
Awesome. Outside of the SPV opportunities around Fast Pitch, I do know that you set them up for our angel group. Can you tell us more about Stella Angels?
Oh, yes. I love Stella Angels. Stella Angels is our network of femme investors who want to invest in femme-led brands. So we're super interested in companies that have a woman in the CEO seat and where they own 51% or more of the business. We do quarterly meetings where we feature amazing companies and have great discussion and figure out who we want to invest in as a group.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for all that information. It looks like the judges are back with us and might have actually come to a decision.
Oh, so exciting. Well, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for joining. Oh, you're on mute.
Sorry, I'm on mute. That's like the quote of the whole year. Raven and Christine, can you just confirm audience choice for me on text, please?
Sorry.
Make sure. So I'm glad you're able to hear from Cooley and also Lauren Raleigh from Stella Angels. What we do now is very different than a lot of pitch competitions. We announce the winners, which is awesome. We love winning, right? But as I told the founders when we did pitch prep is that it's not about winning. It's about the feedback that you receive from other female angel investors and venture capitalists that we have in the group. So just wanted to let you know that we do give open feedback. It's very positive, very supportive, because we are also about a community of women who support women. So without further ado, I want to first say the audience choice and then the winner of the Northwest Women's Fast Pitch. So the audience choice for the Northwest region is Radious. Congratulations. Well done on the audience choice. And then the winner of the Northwest Regional Women's Fast Pitch is Pandere Shoes. Yes, congratulations. Go ahead, Laura.
Yay! Thank you.
All the way from Alaska. Thank you, Laura. And we have actually Vidya is going to give you some feedback about your pitch and then go down the road. So Vidya.
Yeah, so congratulations to everybody. This was tough. You saw how long it took for us to come back. It's because we had such interesting conversations about all of you. So you're going to hear from the judges about everybody. But Laura, congratulations. I think you blew us away with your product market fit. You've identified a really strong customer need. And what we love about this is that you picked deliberately a specific customer, a specific target, and you met their needs, that they repeat, they come back and they want more. And you've got such a large runway ahead of you. There's lots and lots of avenues, but you're being really choiceful. You're not saying everybody who's got a foot needs your shoes, which is something that, you know, we can laugh, but we've heard before. And you're being very thoughtful. You've already created a great partnership, and we see so much opportunity. So through product market, through really kind of solving and having such great empathy for your customers, you just got a terrific story, and we're super impressed. So congratulations again.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm very, very surprised.
Okay. You did so good, Laura. Don't worry. You did awesome. So next up is Catherine. Would love to give some feedback on Radious, because she's an expert in this field. So.
I must say that I am extremely impressed with your idea. It is something that is definitely needed out there. And what was most impressive, because I am, as I said, a zoning person, somebody who's worked in the field for almost 40 years, that knowing that you need to know that is way, way important. And so I think that as you go forward, that will take you far. It will take you very far to think those things through, perhaps thinking of new ideas, new ways that you could potentially find spaces that in places where the zoning regulations are more challenging. So that's just a kind of a seed to plant in your head on how this business could grow in perhaps ways that you don't even know right now. So feel free to reach out, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you.
Thank you so much. That's great feedback. Good for food for thought.
I love Catherine's one of my dear colleagues. Well, everybody is, but in the social impact space and impact space in general too, she's an awesome mentor. She speaks to a lot of founders. So when she says to reach out, she really means it. So it's really all of the judges do. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there. Next up is Brianna. Do you want to give some feedback on Syntek and Indemnis?
All right, great. I'll start with Indemnis, and a great job on really thinking outside the box on a hardware technology. It's great seeing women leading the way here and getting those patents issued. As you go to market and really bring on more of those customers, I think it's really important to think about how best you can really support those first customers in the door, because they're going to really help support you in the continued growth and as you move through that customer stage, as well as moving in through the DoD funding. So once again, please do reach out. I have worked in this space for the last 4 years, so I'm also a nerd when it comes to drones and this types of technology. So definitely happy to support, and it's great to share the same last name. So great job, Amber. And then to Tawny, local Seattle company here, and it's great to see, you know, really being out there looking to solve problems that you're working with real time. I think there's a lot that can be said for working in this space and the care that you provide to patients, and really want to deliver them the best care and really help impact the hospital's bottom line, because we know that their margins are really thin. As you go forward, also please reach out. Happy to help and support. I do believe that there's things surrounding your team and advisors to really help build out the business aspect of things that's going to be really helpful for you along the way. So keep up the great work, both Amber and Tawny, and great job today in being finalists.
Wonderful job. And last but not least, this is really, really hard. We deliberated way too long. So Kristen, would you like to give some feedback to Wendy from Shift?
Sure. Yes. Thank you, Wendy. Very strong presentation. And obviously this is a very needed technology as we shift and try to thrive in this virtual world, especially within the healthcare industry, trying to scale really high quality training at scale is going to be difficult. But what we want to see a little bit further extrapolated upon within this presentation is probably a little more on that proprietary methodology and where you're positioned in terms of the other competitive players within the market. And then personally, I think a way to differentiate yourself might be to take it a step further and see how you can apply this within other industries beyond healthcare to kind of set yourself apart. But great job overall, and strong presentation. Thanks, Wendy.
Wonderful job, everybody. So this concludes our Women's Fast Pitch Northwest region. Thank you for being here. I have a team that supports us at Stella Angels and Stella Labs, and wanted to give a little bit of an announcement. Stay on for a little more time, a little more minutes. I'm calling all accredited investors. We're setting up special purpose vehicles for all of the Women's Fast Pitch participants with investor demand. So please click on the form in the chat to learn more about each of these wonderful ladies who pitched tonight. And if you're interested in investing, please let us know through that form, or easy enough, just join us post-event on the Zoom call. Again, down at the chat, there will be a Zoom link with Lauren Rowley of Stella Angels, who you heard from before. Well, we wanted to also promote the Women's Venture Summit. It is an experience, right? We want you to be a part of that. We want you to learn and grow with us with 50 plus speakers, from workshops to Ask Me Anything sessions to due diligence sessions that are gamified due diligence sessions. You are going to find out who wins the Women's Fast Pitch Finals. We have all of the regions coming together and they win. And the only way that they win is we have investors that get together with you as an audience at the Women's Venture Summit to actually pick the winners. You get a due diligence, it's a due diligence packet from everybody. You get $1 million Monopoly money, but it's kind of like a Starbucks. And you become a fund for about 45 minutes, and you invest the money into the startup that you deserve, that you think deserves the winning pitch. So it's a really great process. And then that winner wins $10,000 investment and about $30,000 of in-kind services. So it is a process. It is a community. It is a network of women supporting women. You can also network face-to-face, quote unquote, face-to-face in SwapCard, which is our platform, which is great to be able to connect pre, post, during, all of those things. So it is definitely an experience. Come please to the Women's Venture Summit. And if you have signed up today and you've signed up for 2 other Women's Fast Pitch, so that's 3 total, you can receive a special promo code for discounted Women's Venture Summit tickets. So we have a couple of more regions, so please join us so that you can get those promo codes. So thank you again to our sponsors, Cooley, the Impact Seat, and the Next Wave Impact Foundation, to our founders who pitched, and to our wonderful, wonderful judges who spent so much time mindfully picking the winner for today. Join us next week at Women's Fast Pitch Southwest at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time next Tuesday. So see you then. Bye.